What is up, NFC West football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC West Roundtable, powered by BetUS. Week 8 is in the books. We turn the page to, Week 9. Can't believe we're already at this point of the season, and we only have 2 games to discuss within the division this upcoming weekend, a divisional matchup. It's going to be wild. So much on the line in that one. And then, of course, the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers are on a bye in Week 9. So we'll dive into those 2 games. Before we do, let's bring in the fellas. Mike, who's on top of the division right now. Jake, who's finding his way to get into the mix. Brandon, he's thoroughly in the mix. Jesse, currently right now, the favorite on BetUS to have his San Francisco 49ers win the division. It is anybody's division right now, fellas. The show earlier in the week, we dove into it. And, man, the odds are crazy in terms of how close it is, and the overall records are as well. So this weekend could go a long way towards determining, what the overall outcome could be, including that interdivisional matchup between Jake's Rams and Brandon's Seahawks. We'll talk about that game in just a second. But before we do, let's start with the man who's on top right now, Mike and his Arizona Cardinals. They're at home this upcoming weekend. And right now on BetUS, you can get the Arizona Cardinals as a pick'em at home against the Bears. The Bears coming off one of the most devastating losses you can suffer in pro sports at the hands of the Hail Mary of Jaden Daniels. The Cardinals coming off a crazy victory at the end against the Miami Dolphins. Hadn't had the lead all game until they did, and they wound up getting the W to put them atop of the division. Right now, the Cardinals are a pick'em at home on BetUS. All of the Week 9 lines, by the way, currently up on BetUS. You can get in on them using the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you a 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits after that on BetUS. All right, so let's dive into this one, fellas. The Cardinals are on top. The question is, for how long? Jake, I'll start with you. These Bears, I guess it could go one of 2 ways. They're going to want to avenge what just happened, or that could put a fork in them because of how devastating the ending was. What happens between the Bears and the Cardinals on Sunday?
Well, this one's fascinating because the Bears are such a great red zone defense, and the Cardinals score in the red zone. So it's, battle between those 2 teams. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one. The Bears haven't shown me they can win on the road. They're 0-3. The Cardinals have shown me they can win on the road. The Cardinals have shown me they can beat teams as good as they are, and I think the Bears are kind of around that. I trust Kyler Murray more than Caleb Williams, and I think as long as you continue to pound the rock, then, it really kind of keeps the Bears at bay. So I think they take control of this game and don't let it go. I'm going to say they win 23-13.
Brandon, how do you see this one shaking up between one of the North contenders and the top of the West right now?
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup for the Cardinals, especially at home without any elements at play on this one. I think that they are able to run the ball, to Jake's point on this, in a way to be able to go at this Bears defense how you like, and the Bears defense really wants to try to get you into pass rush mode. I can attest the fact that guy in Waldron, the offensive coordinator for the Bears, can have a tendency to shift away from the run and his commitment to it. And I thought last week against the Dolphins, something the Dolphins did in that game was they went away a little bit too much from the run against that Cardinals team, got a little bit too pass happy, and sort of played into the hand of the Cardinals. I think that you're going to see a little bit of something similar here with how the Cardinals play it. We know they're going to be patient. And another thing you saw from the Cardinal team that they showed you last week that I do think we do see from the Bears, as evidenced by that Hail Mary play. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's the worst shot of the Hail Mary being the fans in the stadium literally pointing at Tyreek Stevenson to look back for the ball. It's one of my favorite photos of the year so far, where he's out there clowning around, but I think that that's where the matchup comes down to, is that this Cardinal team, and happening in last week looking at it, they don't beat themselves. No bad turnovers, no bad fumbles. They're not going to be a highly penalized team in this league. We were talking about in the last show about all the penalties across the board. They don't do that. And so they put themselves always in a good position to win, despite sometimes not always having the equivalent talent across the board that they're playing against, in my opinion. So I'm going to give them the edge, a 3-point edge at that. I think it's a close game, high scoring game, 27-24.
Jesse, your Niners are on the bye. You can sit back and watch these games without any worry. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals-Bears game Sunday?
Well, I'm just going to pat myself on the back because I don't get to do it often with these picks. I've been absolutely atrocious. But last week I was undefeated, so I'm feeling really, really good about myself. I'm going to pick the Bears to win this game. And basically the reason I'm picking the Bears is because you've got the number 4 scoring defense going up against the Cardinals, who does have a good offense, but they rank, as far as scoring offense, 18. I think that they can hold them down just enough But when you look at the Bears, I mean, they're a middle of the road offense themselves, but the Cardinals defense, as far as the scoring defense, hasn't been good. So, but I will say this. The reason this is a tough pick for me is because the Bears are coming off of an atrocious loss. And the way that they lost that game, you never know how a team is going to respond. I mean, it's such a rare thing to happen in football to lose on a walk-off Hail Mary. So maybe they come out and they're completely defeated and the Cardinals roll. I really could see a scenario where the Cardinals can blow them out here just because the Bears might be down on themselves. But if things hold true to form, I just think that this Bears defense is good enough to hold that offense down enough, not a ton. Kyler Murray, those boys are going to be ready to go, but I do think that the Bears get this one done. I will go 23-20.
Mike, talk to us. How do the Cardinals find a way to stay at top of the division on Sunday against the Bears?
Win, win, win. I mean, we all talked about it's literally one win away from just completely the rankings changing from potentially the Rams jumping everybody. So if the Cardinals want to stay within the West, they got to keep winning the games that are in front of them, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this is a winnable game. They got a really good defense over there with the Chicago Bears. Their offense, middle of the line, obviously with their rookie quarterback. We've seen some flashes of Caleb Williams, but we definitely seen some struggles where he's not really able to be, that guy to put those points up consistently. So I would lean on the fact of obviously Kyler Murray having one of his best games we've seen in a very long time. Now, obviously we've been talking about consistency. We need consistency with this Arizona Cardinal offense because they're supposed to be the bright spot of the 2024 Arizona Cardinals. We know what our defense is, but we've seen our defense shut people out in the second half. We've seen our defense not allowing a touchdown in 60 minutes of a game. And we also seen our defense get carved up like Swiss cheese. So it really just depends on what defense shows up and can our offense put points up. But I'm going to lean on the fact that the Cardinals are riding a really, really good high on the back-to-back wins. They believe in Jonathan Gannon. They believe in this regime. Although, yes, to Brandon's point, lack of talent is a real thing. I'm going to lean on the fact that the Cardinals offense is going to get it right. And Marvin and Kyler Murray is going to go back-to-back amazing games along with Trey McBride. So I got the Cardinals winning this game. I'm going to say a high-scoring event because I don't think our defense could stop a lick, honestly. I'm going to say 31-28 Cardinals win on another Chad Ryland field goal.
Hey, Robinson's back this week, yeah?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
That's cool. That's good. Good for him.
He's a good
We're going to stay in the 4:25 p.m. window for one of the games of the day, an interdivisional battle with a ton on the line. The Los Angeles Rams heading out to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Right now on BetUS, the Rams are a 1-point road favorite. The Rams look dead in the water in terms of an odds perspective to win this division. They're right back in it, and a win this upcoming Sunday would go a hell of a long way towards putting them in real contention to win this division potentially. Meanwhile, the Seahawks coming off of their loss to the Buffalo Bills, they're looking to get back on pace. Huge game this upcoming Sunday, fellas, within the division. Jesse, I'll start with you here. Who gets it done between the Hawks and the Rams?
Well, I said last week that I was picking the Rams to beat the Vikings, and that if the Rams beat the Vikings, I believe they're going to win the division. So I can't then a week later not pick them to beat the Seattle Seahawks. I think that them and the 49ers are on a collision course where that game in about 5 weeks' time is going to be for the division. And whoever wins that game is going to walk away with it. And we'll see where these two teams are at health-wise going into it, but that's going to be a fun matchup if I am right here. But I've got to go with the Rams to win this one. I mean, you're talking about two teams that are really in must-win situations in a division, but one team knows how to win. One team has a quarterback that knows how to win, has a head coach that knows how to win. The other one is the Seattle Seahawks, and they've got, a lot of talent and young players, but they've got a new coaching staff. And right now, this coaching staff has got to figure some things out. Give me the team with the better coach, the better quarterback. That is the Rams. I'm going to take them to win this game 30-20 on the road.
Mike, I know your Cardinals will be on at the same time, but you're going to have this one on a corner TV somewhere. Who do you think takes it between the Rams and the Hawks?
Well, in the beginning of the season, I had the Seahawks at the bottom, so I can't ban from that, right? With that narrative. Honestly, I do think that we're going to start seeing the decline of the Seattle Seahawks. Sorry, Brandon, but I do think that the Rams will take this. They are a dynamic offense when Puka and Cooper Kupp is on the field, but I think Puka Nacua just adds that level of man, this team could be very, very good. So I'm just going to lean on that. I think the Rams are hitting a stride here. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say this is going to be a close game. I think DK should be coming back, where I don't think we've 100%, but I think it's going to be a much closer game than we anticipate. Definitely not a 1-point game, but I'll say a 7-point game. I got the Rams winning this game 28-21, if I can math correctly. I think that makes sense.
Jake, you're coming off the W, so I'll start with you. How does it go down in Seattle on Sunday between the Hawks and your Rams?
I got 30-20. Seattle's averaging 182.3 yards allowed on the ground the last 3 games. I just don't think that's just not conducive to winning football. Kyron Williams, one of the best running backs in football. I just feel like, if they get Joseph Noteboom this week, and I already thought the offensive line played really well against the Vikings, but if they get Noteboom this week and maybe even Avila, I could see Kyron going for 200 yards rushing. I really could see that. But I'm going to say 30-20. I just, like I said, guys, the Rams, in our live stream that we actually just did, the Rams don't blow guys out. They just don't blow teams out. So I think it'll be pretty much the same thing that we saw against the Vikings, something along the line of it's 27-20 and, the Rams kick a field goal at the end of the game or whatever. But I think they'll control the game, and I think a big reason is because they're getting healthier. I trust Matthew Stafford to make every throw on the field. Like I said, Kyron Williams is the chain mover, and I think this defense is just going to get after Geno. I think Geno can make them pay if they don't get the pressure on him, and you still have some weapons there. But I'm excited for the Ernest Jones and Colby Parkinson Bowl. I think Colby Parkinson, the Rams, win this game. He might not catch a single pass, but he's on the Rams, so I'll take him.
Brandon, rough week last week, and we could sense the frustration from you for your Hawks this past Sunday. It wasn't great, but do they have the ability to turn it around this upcoming Sunday and change the tide? How do you view this one going against the Rams?
Football is a game of matchups, and it's a game about sometimes a strength going into your team's weakness. The Seahawks have only 2 other teams have given up more yards on the ground this entire season, say nothing of the 3-game stat that Jake just brought up, the entire season in the NFL, than the Seattle Seahawks. Your Bills learned this last week that there's almost a freebie 7 or 8 yards there every time you want to go to the ground. And then let's pair this with what the Rams did this offseason, which I thought made a very tangible decision to say, we're going to go away from Stafford as a high-volume quarterback. We're going to double back down to the ground game. We're going to invest back in the offensive line. We're going to be a bit ground and poundy. It's going to be 25 to 33 attempts for Stafford when it's going right for us in a given football game. And that kind of model of a player going up against us right now will absolutely defeat us. It can be a Jared Goff. It can be a Brock Purdy. It can be a game like this here. And I don't think that there's going to be many problems at all. And I don't even think Stafford's really going to have to do a lot. Another underrated part of having Kupp and Puka back is that those are 2 also very good run blocking receivers on the edge. Part of the reason that we can't run as much of our running attack has to do that we can't trust like Lockett, JSN to be able to block in a kind of similar manner. It's kind of an underrated part to be able to run outside zone. I know the Niners, for instance, this is one thing that kept Brandon Ayuk, I think, at times off the field early on, is the insistence that you as a receiver are going to block in my scheme and you're going to block well. And it's an underrated portion, but more of the NFL is becoming more about targeting those cornerbacks that can't necessarily tackle or don't want to tackle. And I think more than anything that this really comes down to how our defense is not going to be able to hold the line more than is by what our offense does. 27-17 will be the score I'd go with in this one. I just think that they're going to be able to control the game, control the clock, eat the clock, and there's not a whole hell of a lot that we can do about it.
There you have it. Before we wrap up, Jesse, just real quick, your Niners are on the bye. What's one thing you're hoping to see from them when they get out of that bye with that tough stretch down the end of the schedule here?
Yeah, they've got to be able to score in the red zone. Right now, they rank 27th in the league. They're around 48% touchdown percentage, and that's got to change. Maybe that can change with CMC, but I think expecting CMC to come back and be CMC is a bit rich. They've got to figure it out. And there's a lot of things going wrong in the red zone, but they need to figure out how to rectify that, because one thing that I can say is that second half of the schedule is much tougher. They play 5 top 10 scoring offenses. They're going to have to score a lot. This defense isn't what it once was. They're going to have to win in some shootouts, and that starts with scoring when you get down there. Right now, they are the number 4 passing team, the number 4 rushing team, but they are 8 in scoring, and that is because they have not been able to punch the ball into the end zone when they are getting down in the red zone.
There you have it, folks. The Week 9 picks are locked in, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. We will recap how it unfolds next week on the NFC West Roundtable Week 9 recap episode. In order to be notified of that episode and all of our upcoming episodes, hit the like button and subscribe button on your way out the door. While you're on your way out the door as well, take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus through BetUS, up to $2,000 on your first deposit using the promo code YouTube150. It'll also get you a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits after that. For Mike, Jake, Brandon, and Jesse, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much for tuning in to the NFC West Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.